Podcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Hi, good evening, everyone. I hope you can hear me. And welcome to this live broadcast of the ASCC analysis. I hope you had a good test and you enjoyed taking that test, which was personally built by me. And as we go through the session today, the whole idea that I want to take you through basically is a couple of things. Of course, I will go ahead. I'll go through a discussion of some of the questions of the ACC also, but I also want to give you an insight into your process preparation process for the ASC for the CAT, and how the ASCC, the Arun Sharma CAT challenge, can help you get there. We'll talk about that. And for all those of you who have done this open mock test, there's a wonderful offer that we are bringing for you. So let me first start by talking about that. We call the Arun Sharma CAT challenge as the ideal CAT companion. And of course, this is a test series that is personally created and uh, balanced, and it's not just about when you create a test, it's not just about making 100 questions and putting a test out. You have to manage the balance and the relevance of each question and each experience inside the exam, right? So uh, yeah, we'll upload the discussion video on YouTube or some other place. You can have a look at that. Can you hear me? Mohak was saying that the volume was slightly low, but are you able to hear me, all of you? So good. Before I start off discussion of how to analyze tests and what to do with your testing, etc. Just a brief word about the Arun Sharma CAT challenge. What we are offering. Of course, there's a discount of 3,300 rupees, which is there for today for 24 hours on this test series. And the test series consists essentially of 25 full-length ASCCs, which will give you. There are 31 omits and replicats including omits and replicats. So overall 6 replicats and other exams like replis, that, etc., and also mock tests for the other exams. Milake, there'll be a total of 56 mock tests, full-length mock tests that you have in the series. And then we have something called the CAT scan, which shows you exactly where you need to work. Because why that is important, we'll come to as I move on. And personal mentoring also with your test scores, and the GDPI support for the first 50 registrations. So just let me point out a few things before we move on. So the first part, sorry for the spelling error. So there's no mathematical. It's very easy to create a difficult mathematical cons paper which is not relevant for the CAT. So what I see people taking various test series, they come to me with questions which when I look at it, मेरे को लगता है कि मेरा तो इस साल नहीं होने वाला है, because ये तो CAT में ही आएगा तो मेरे से नहीं होने वाला है. So one thing is very critical. What differentiates us is that we are very conscious of the fact that the quant section is a quant section. It's not a mathematics section. So this is one very critical differentiator. The second differentiator is that our DI question length will replicate what the CAT will give you as an experience. It will be 8 to 10 to 12 steps. If you look at the past year CAT papers and the past year CAT question papers in DI, you will see that every question is around 8 to 10 to 12 steps. In fact, for all the test series aspirants, for all the people joining us for the test series, for the ASCC test series, we're also giving you a special bonus of recorded video solutions of all the DI and LR of the last 3 years. So this will also be available to you, and of course, selected questions and quants also. But this is something which will be an invaluable resource for you along with the test series. So recorded video solutions of the last 3 years DILR 17, CAT 17, CAT 18, and CAT 19. data interpretation and logical reasoning. These will be part of your package, which you'll get along with the test series, the DILR. And of course, we're also looking at doing a little bit of the quants also, so that you get to see the shortcuts and the methods of how to think through those questions. And of course, the other USP that we have is the variety of question types in English. So we do come up with some surprises in the English section always, so that you are in fine fettle. Of course, the standard of the fact that English is mostly about comprehension, we maintain that. But at the same time, varied question types, you'll keep getting a little bit of a differential in the verbal question types. RC to more or less standard ही रहता है. And then, of course, we also offering personal mentoring, which is very critical. Why it is critical? Because, and why perfect plans are critical from now, is because you are in a 70-day framework of preparation. And in a 70-day framework of preparation, what is going to count is essentially the direction and the effectiveness of your study sessions. Now, if you look at, if you come out of number of days in your thinking, and you come into a situation where you ask yourself कि मेरा CAT का score improve करने का only chance is going to be when I'm going to sit and focus seriously for 2 to 3 hours at a time. That's the only time where I'm able to improve my solving skills. So I call this 3 hour sit down session as a study session. So when you're preparing for CAT this year and you are all into some tests or other, uh, or you're all in some tests or other, uh, and taking tests, what you have essentially is a balanced bank of a certain number of study sessions available. So in the context of 70-day framework, if you are sitting at home and preparing, I would assume on an average 3 study sessions a day, which means you have 210 study sessions. And if you don't have 3 study sessions a day, if you're working and you can only do an average of, let's say, 14-15 study sessions a week, because you're working, etc., or even maybe lesser than that, in that case you are looking at 140 sit down sessions. And if these sessions are not very directed, and that's why I said the direction of work and the effectiveness of the work are going to be the most critical aspect. How do you learn? What do you learn? How do you direct yourself? What should you sit for? What you should not sit for? That is very important, and that basically comes to you from the metrics that I'm going to talk to you about today. So you're going to look at those metrics, and you're going to try to look at which metrics are achievable for you, and which metrics. So what I'm going to do in the session today is I'm going to give you the 100 percentilers view. I'm not yet a 100 percentiler, 99.99 at best, but I can claim to speak from the 100 percentiler point of view, because I give my cats without any practice. मेरे को जो भी आता है वो मैं वहीं जाके जो करना होता है करता हूँ. So you can understand that there's some handicap in only doing 8 DI sets a year practice wise, and only doing 6-7 reading comprehension a year. So even with that handicap, if I'm able to score that, I can speak to you from the 100 percentiler's perspective. And you need to understand that in every question type, the 100 percentiler has certain skills. So we look at those metrics of what he can do, and then you need to measure what you can do, and you need to find a path, if there's a path possible, by investing the only resource you have, your only two resource, one and two. Resource one is your study sessions, and resource two is your learning intelligence. So how quick can you pick up, and how effective your study sessions? I mean, this is, as I said, this is a measured quantity now. You have between 140 to 210 study sessions left. इसमें से अगर तुम प्लान कर रहे हो कि 20-25 टेस्ट दोगे, इसमें 25 फुल लेंथ टेस्ट दोगे, अगर ये प्लान कर रहे हो, जो कि देना ही चाहिए तुमको, तो that means you are taking over 50 study sessions, because the test will not just be testing, but it will also be analysis, and these are valuable. It's not that they are not valuable. So that's why you'll do this. and that would mean that you are left with a bank of around 100 to 150 study sessions from this point if you want to make things happen. And while this sounds that you are now in tough times and pressure times, the flip side of it is also important. The flip side of it is, suppose my time split distance is not working. If you have studied it before, then even 3 study sessions of 3 hours each would be significant to make it happen, right? Even 3 study sessions of 3 hours each would be significant to make your time split distance move from where it is to where it needs to be. So there is for every question type, there is where you are, and there is where the 100 percentiler is in terms of the attempt accuracy. I mean, ultimately score improve karna hai. Palak says I've been stuck at 110 for the last 2 months. How do I improve that? So ultimately score improve karna hai, so it's not rocket science कि या तो attempt बढ़ाओ या accuracy बढ़ाओ, और तीसरा कोई तो रास्ता होता नहीं है ना. There's no third way. So where are you with respect to attempt capability and accuracy capability? Attempt बढ़ाने के लिए speed बढ़ाना पड़ेगा. This is the speed angle. And accuracy के लिए, of course, you'll need to improve the precision of your solving, whether it's reading comprehension or parajumbles, or it's an area and reasoning, or data interpretation, or quants, right? And of course, one last thing for people registering before 6 p.m. tomorrow, we are giving the GDPI course for the first 50 registrations free of cost. So that itself is a value of around 5,000-6,000 rupees in terms of what we normally sell it at. So you pretty much have all the incentives available to join. And I'm just sending you the link of the page where you can join from. Quant, I mean, you'll tell me. I mean, you'll tell me. मैं तो अच्छा ही बोलूँगा. This is question from Pallavi. What was the level of quant in today's mock with respect to CAT? I would think it was pretty balanced. I don't think. I mean, देखो, when you try to understand the level, and let's now come to the key analysis issues. The level depends on a few things. The first thing the level depends on is what are the length of steps of the questions. So CAT has a 3-4 step limit. So if I cannot show you 4-step solutions to these questions, then these questions are not worth CAT. That's one. The second one, you will have the PDF. You will have the test available. You can go back and check it there, right? And the second one is, of course, as I said, no mathematical content, and questions having numerical solutions also. The other thing that defines difficulty level is the percentage of standard questions versus non-standard questions. So in the ASCC across the test, you'll get a mix of this. So maybe this one you found hard, some of you, because it was today's one who had a little bit of cricket in it, but not always. I'm more of a fan of tennis than cricket. So anyway, let's come back to that. The percentage of standard questions versus the percentage of non-standard questions. So in that context, you might have found that today's test had more of non-standard questions than standard questions. So you want we have not I've not checked. Maybe around 500-600 people must have taken the test today, right? And of course, more people will take it as because the test will be released on our portal. So more people who are taking the test who did not do it at the same time will take it. So you'll get this thing. And but for us, what is important is that we would be able to give you a projected percentile based on your scores. So on our test series, it does not matter. I mean, you might get an all India rank 1 on our test series, but if your score does not hit the mean plus 3 sigma level, we might give you a 92 percentile only. So our logic is based on the normal curve, the normalization curve that the cat uses, and it's not rank 1 and 100 percentile logic. So cat also uses normalization across the papers to define who's got what, right? Right. So I think if you can score a 150 plus 140, 150 in this test, you should be in good fettle for a 99 percentile, right? So let's. You want me to start with quants? We will start with the quants part. I think that will be the most valuable solving wise. Also, है ना? So I will just share my screen, which includes some questions from the paper for today, and then maybe I'll do a couple of DI sets for you to show you, and then we'll also discuss the aspects of what I was telling you, what the top guys are able to do. So quantitative aptitude का discussion start करते हैं. Let's start from here. So top guys क्या कर पाते हैं? What are the top guys able to do? So if I divide my paper into my test paper into 6 parts of 10 minutes each, if I divide my paper into 6 parts of 10 minutes each, the top guys are able to get through 4 questions every 10 minutes. One sec, there's some, yeah, I think I've shared the screen for you. Yeah, I'm just sharing the main screen for you. So what the top guys are able to do is basically, let me go back to this PowerPoint screen for a minute. So top guys क्या कर पाते हैं? I mean, I can tell you from my own personal experience, मैं क्या कर पाता हूँ, and people are around my ilk, my level, what are they able to do in quants? So they're basically able to do every, if they divide the paper into 10 minutes ka 4 slots, 6 slots, they're able to do around 4 questions every 10 minutes. And guys who can get to 5 questions every 10 minutes actually hit the 100 percentile. So you can change the sequence of the questions. You can split the questions between different this thing. You can change the split of what the split of these questions are. Let's say this is dominated by arithmetic and functions, and this one is dominated by geometry and number systems, and this one is dominated by permutation, combination, and algebra. It does not affect them. They are still able to get through 4 questions, uh, or four questions through every 10 sets, 10 minutes. And the really top guys, this is where you start hitting. If you are getting most of these correct, maybe with 1 or 2 wrong, you will be in the 99.xx percentile level. And if you can hit the 5th one on an average, or you can start averaging 4.5 each. So even if I mean, it does not affect them. It does not affect them. The top guys, 99 percentiles do get affected when the number of when the questions become tough. But the 99.9 100 percentiles, it does not affect them. So I'll give you evidence for that. The evidence for that is very clearly visible in the CAT 18 paper. Right, CAT 17 was an easy paper. If I remember correctly, I had solved 30 questions in CAT 17 in quants. CAT 18 was a difficult paper. I solved 28 questions in quants. I had 2 mistakes in 30 here. I had 2 mistakes in 28 here. So you can see how much it affects me, right? And people of my ilk at that level. Whereas the 99 percentile guy in CAT 17 had solved 25 questions, 25, 26 questions. And CAT 18, he was able to solve only 18, 19 questions. So this is one feature that they are able to pull through, because of the fact that they would have either the ability to build the thinking behind the questions, and or build the structure, or the where the thinking is either standardized, so you know that question, you have done something similar, or you are able to in a non-standard situation, you are able to generate the required thought. So let's try to do this now. What you should do in a test paper is you should build a 10 minute framework and put 6 questions in it, right? 10, 10, 10, 10, 10, and 10. Split your paper into 6 parts and do 6 questions, 6 questions, 6 questions, 6 questions, 5 questions, and 5 questions. Now, one thing that you should understand about taking the CAT is that there are three x-axis that when you're taking an exam and when you're taking a test, there are three axes that parallelly run in your test. All these three axes are set at 0% to start with, and as the test goes through and the time moves from 0 to 100, and the test goes through and the questions move from 0 to 34, and as the test goes through and your attempts move from whatever your target attempts, let's say you're targeting 25 attempts in the paper. So essentially, for the top guys, these three move at the same speed. So at 50% of the paper, he would be on the 17th question, and he would have solved 12, 13. Sometimes, in fact, मेरा strategy रहता है जो CAT में, which I share with people. When I'm solving the CAT, what I do in quant section and also in DILR section, also in verbal section actually, if my time is at around 40%, I try to get to 50% of both my target attempts as well as the number of questions. So I'll do very vigorous solving in my first 20 minutes, so that later I can slow down and think aram se. So if there are a couple of questions here which are going to be speed breakers for me in the first 20 minutes, I'll put it for later analysis, because later, once I'm ahead of time, it becomes very easy. Think of it like somebody was saying that I'm a big fan of cricket. Maybe not much any longer, uh, especially not the IPL variety. But one thing that I do analogize here, because simply because people will find it easy to understand, that if you have to score, let's say, 330 runs in a one-day cricket match to win, and you are at the 25 over mark, you are at 190 for one. How many matches will you lose from here? Scenario 2, you need to score 230 runs, 330 runs, and at the 25 run mark, over mark, you are only at 140 for, let's say, 3. So यहाँ से कितने matches lose करोगे? You can understand that the pressure in this case will be much higher, and you have to do the same thing, 190, and next 25 you have to do 140. But doing this earlier makes it easier for you to actually score the runs. So that should be the this thing. So speed breakers, see, one or two speed breakers in the first 20 minutes are taken care by the fact that there are a few questions that will really go quickly. So let's start having a look at the first question, for example, here. So you can see the question on the screen on the left. Do you want me to increase the font of that? So vessel has a solution of spirit and water. Now you can see it. A vessel is a solution of spirit and water. And देखो, I mean, of course, apart from the fact that you can strategize, your skills have to match your strategy. So you can do as much strategy as you want, but if your skills do not match the strategy, if the skills do not match the strategy, then it's not going to be worthwhile. There's some people asking me about the price of the ASCC, etc. I've put a link for you. I'm sharing the link again here. Mindworks.in/ASCC you can go to, and I'll show you that towards the end of the session. You can just go there and you can click on the purchase. The purchase button is at the bottom, and it will give you a 3999 pricing against the 7200 pricing for what we are giving you today. So coming back, let's come back to this. A vessel has a solution of spirit and water in which the two liquids are in the ratio 5:1. Now, one of the principal aspects of speed improvement, both in quants and DI and LR, and of course goes without saying also in English, that you have to build your ability to be able to do stuff in one reading. This is one of the factors that I have seen in a lot of students. Matlab, when we used to have that offline center at Connaught Place, also I would in a physical test in the classroom, I would go around, give a DILR set and go around the room and give 12 minutes to solve it, 15 minutes to solve it, go around the room trying to check what people are doing. And after 8 minutes, I would see 70% of the people were still reading the question. If you're going to read the question after 8 minutes, and you're still reading the question 8 minutes into the set, solve kab karoge? So one of the principal components of good quality solving, and this is close to what 100 percentiles do, the great guys do, the people who are great at CAT do, is that they are able to handle stuff in one reading. There is no need for a second reading. So, and this, I can show you the entire CAT paper, which you will get in those DILR lectures also. Those of you who are already at Mindworks are already seeing that every question I show you in one reading, right? There is, मतलब अगर reading second reading चाहिए तो एक clue का reading हो सकता है second, but otherwise every question is going to be one reading. So let's look at the first this thing. A vessel has a solution of spirit and water in which the two liquids are in the ratio 5:1. The reaction is 5:1 here. There's nothing else to do at this point. You can react 5x and 1x, etc. But typically I'm thinking this. I know the mental framework I have for a ratio is that the actual numbers will be different from these numbers. There'll be some actual numbers. And then the question says, by addition of some water to it, the ratio of spirit and water in the solution becomes 5:3. So you're adding water and the ratio becomes 5:3. So it's very clear that you must have added 2 water because the spirit is still at 1. 2 in the context of this numbers, not in the context of the unknown numbers. So it's not like you've added 2 liters of water, but you've added certain amount of water, which in the context of 5, 1 is 2. So if this is 1, this is 2. So in my mind, back end of my mind, the algebra will play out. This is 5x, x and 2x. And now this is 5x and 3x. That's fine. On replacing 32 liters of this solution with pure spirit, the ratio of spirit and water is changed to 7:3. Now this is a critical statement in this question. So what am I doing? I'm from this mixture, I'm taking out 32 liters. Now when I take out 32 liters in the ratio of 5:3, I'll be taking out 20 liters from here and 12 liters from here. So I now have my new number of liters of spirit and water after the -20 and the -12. And this new one is in the ratio of 7:2. And after this, I'm replacing this with 32 of spirit. And now it's 7:3. Right? So the question being asked is, what is the volume of water added? What is this 2 that has happened? Right? And it's a theta question, no options, etc. So you have an option of actually going into into equations here. But if I try to think through this, and if I can get some proportion somewhere, it might be an easier way to solve this. So let me just think through. And I have not done this. I mean, of course, I created the questions, but uh, I have not thought of the non-algebraic solution here. But if I try to think about this, essentially what is happening? Okay, so this plus 32, I've made a mistake here. The plus 32 reading should be here. The plus 32 is happening on spirit, right? So when I'm adding the plus 32 on spirit, the net effect from this 5:3 to this 7:3 is that the water is dropping by 12 and the spirit is increasing by 12. The water is dropping by 12 and the spirit is increasing by 12. And at that point, I also realize that initially, if I had 62.5% spirit here, I now have 70% spirit. And this plus 12 and this minus 12 is also creating that issue. But if I'm thinking in this question in the context of non-equation based solving, so this is becoming slightly tedious to work out what's happening. So if I go back to the equation structures here and try to think about the equations in this situation, what comes to mind is that you have 5x, x, and then 2x water. So the total amount that happens is 5x and 3x in terms of spirit and water to start with. And then if I just take you through the algebraic route here. After the adding of 2x water, I am from 5xx, I have moved to 5x3x. And from there, when I'm subtracting 32 liters of the liquid, as I said, I now have 5x minus 20 and 3x minus 12. This is my new uh, mixture of spirit and water. And from here, I'm adding 32 liters of spirit. So my net outcome for spirit is 5x minus 20 plus 12. And my water is 3x minus 12. And this is given to me finally as 7:3. So if I just solve this for x, I should be able to get a value here. So 15x minus 24 is equal to 21x minus 84. So 6x is equal to 60. So x is 10, and you should be able to get the value of 2x as 20. So it's doable in basically a three-step approach in this context, right? So now normally what happens in CAT when you're doing your quants solving, you have three broad approaches through which you go through questions. One approach is where you try to do stuff only numerically. You start on numbers and you end with numbers. Naturally, this is supported by questions which have options, etc. And when I go the opposite of doing a question only numerically is going all the way algebraically. Now this is okay if my either an algebra solution is okay if my algebra solution is 3 steps, or if I do a couple of steps of algebra and I move to numericals. It was minus 20 plus 32. So if you inculcate both of them, Vansham, it will become plus 12. What had happened was you had 5x spirit, you took out 20 from it, and then you added 32. So the net effect was 5x plus 12. Okay, when you're extracting, you're replacing 32 liters of the original. So calculations, I think whatever, I don't know. Maybe sometimes while teaching and solving, uh, what was the final solution? 5x plus 12 ऊपर होगा और 3x minus 12 नीचे होगा. Sir, sorry, I think I got this wrong. Was that what I did? And this is मैंने 5x minus 12 लिख दिया था. So 7 by 3. Now, of course, one of the things that you should be very clear about. So you'll have to solve this to x for x, and then 2x तुमको answer मिल जाएगा. I think you can check the answers. 6x. हाँ तो different answer आएगा. Yeah, 16 आएगा I think ना. 15x plus 36 is equal to 21x minus 84. तो 6x is equal to 40 आएगा answer. 6x is equal to 120. So x is equal to 20, so 2x will be 40. Sorry. So I made that error there. But I mean, one of the things that you'll need to understand about CAT problem solving is that you have to be in a bubble between you and the question. जैसे ही वो bubble अगर burst रहेगा, if the bubble is not working effectively, this is you and this is the question, and all your solving has to be in a bubble between you and the question. There has to be no interference from outside, which is why being on track with respect to the time, or ideally having your number of questions seen and the question attempted ahead of your time is very critical. तो ये एक सिंगल इक्वेशन का रोल था. तो इसको करने में आई डोंट थिंक you I mean if I'm talking about a 10-minute framework for the first 6 questions, और अगर ये इक्वेशन समझ में नहीं आ रहा है तो you quit the question, you move on. But I don't think this is more than 2 minutes to solve from any angle, right? Especially if you have done maybe 300-400 questions on ratios and percentages and alligation and mixtures. This will always work out. Now, the second question that follows this, that you can see is a very straight question, because what is it telling me? It is telling me n square plus 2n is equal to n cube. Now I know that the gap between n square and n cube keeps going up the moment I go for larger numbers of n, and n is the natural number less than 100. So for example, at 2 square 4 and 2 cube 8, the gap is only 4. But at 5 square 25 and 5 cube 125, the gap is too large. So it's very clear to me that only I'm first interested in small numbers. So I can start with the trial and error. At 1 it will not work. At 2, 4 plus 4 is equal to 8 works. So the question is about number of solutions. So I have my first solution here. At 4 plus 4 is equal to 8, right? Now when I try to go for 3, 927. Now what I'm trying to show you is the numerical solution. I'm just doing numbers. I'm trying to work through the logic of numbers only. Now, first of all, the gap between n square, according to this equation, when I read this equation, the equation is telling me that n square plus a power of 2 and a specific power of 2 should give me n cube. Now when I'm talking about 3, I'm going to get 9 and 27. There's no chance of these two numbers being a power of 2 ka difference, right? And if I go with 4, this is 16 and 2 raised to 4 versus 64. So I can clearly start seeing that this n cube is moving much faster than n square. And this gap, so if I go to n as 5, this will become 32, this will become 32, and that is 125. So there's no way this can happen. sorry, this becomes 25, n is 5, this becomes 25, this becomes 32. There's no way you're going to reach that number. So it seems to be 1, or otherwise you can mark it at this point, because it does not seem that there's going to be any reason. Agar tumko aage check karna hai, suppose you check at 8 square at n equals 8, at n equals 8, if you check at n equals 8, n 8 पे ये 64 आएगा और ये 2 raised to 8 आएगा, which is not such a large number, is it? जबकि यहाँ पे 512 चाहिए तुमको. So the gap you have is in the 400s, and 2 raised to 8, 2 raised to 5 is 32, 2 raised to 8 is just 200s. So you can see that this gap between these two are increasing. So this is just the numerical thought. और अगर तुम एक स्टेप अलजेब्रा यूज कर लोगे इसके बिना, इसके अलावा, आई मीन कैट में देखो, कैट में यू कांट यूज टू मेथड्स कि ये भी कर लेते हैं वो भी कर लेते हैं. So the CAT problem solving, the way it goes is that you pick up the question and then you give yourself a 20-second decision making process. Give yourself 20-second time, and then you decide कि okay, this is my strategy. 20 सेकंड के बाद तुम्हारा strategy decided होना चाहिए क्या करना है, और then you should be able to execute that strategy going forward and be able to come out with the answer. Not every time you will get the best strategy, because in the first 20 seconds of every question you don't see what you might see after 5 minutes in the same question. So don't be bothered about that part. But coming back to this, अगर मैं थोड़ा सा algebraic transformation use करूं, and as I told you, 2 steps algebra, moving to numbers after that is a very valuable process of solving in CAT. And this question is a perfect example of that, of the kind of things CAT asks you to do. So n cube minus n square is equal to 2 raised to n. So n into n minus 1 is equal to a power of 2. And you can see that apart from 2, n square into n minus 1 is equal to 2 raised to n. Apart from n equals 2, this never works. Yeah, we'll upload this in our on our YouTube channel, or we might also give you access to this as an analysis for this test on the website. You can come back to it and see that. So apart from n equals 2, what's going to happen? The right hand side is a power of 2. I mean, ultimately, the logic of equality of two sides, if there are multiplications on both sides, is that the prime factors on this side and the prime numbers on this side have to exactly match the prime numbers on that side. So if you are looking at n as an even number, then n minus 1 be an odd number. And on the right hand side, I have only got 2's, a certain number of 2's. So the moment I have an odd prime number here, it's not going to work at all. Right? So ये इस तरह से भी करोगे या उस तरह से भी करो, it's barely not more than 45 seconds to 1 minute thinking. इस question में तो reading time भी नहीं है. So what a top guy will be able to do is that at this point, in the first case, and you will see this, that the top people have all three approaches. They have the algebraic approach, they have the numerical approach, and they have got the 2 steps algebra and the numerical approach. Unlike lesser solvers, जो कुछ लोग सिर्फ algebraic approach में बहुत strong होते हैं, कुछ लोग सिर्फ numerical approach में बहुत strong होते हैं, और जो जिनका one of these two approaches is stronger, they don't have the middle approach at all. But as I realized in the CAT, my own story is that I was a numerical solver completely. First 5 CATs, I would go straight with the numbers and get through to the answer. First time questions भी वैसे आते थे. But after CAT 99 2000, I started realizing that 2 steps algebra followed by numbers is a very valuable resource or process, solving process in the CAT. And that's when I started building this for myself. And you will see this question itself, 1 step algebra, and I would rate it similar to the CAT, pretty similar, because I don't think somebody who's good at this would have problems maintaining a 4 out of 6 in 10 minutes. Maybe non-standard questions थोड़ा ज़्यादा थे from your normal, तो उसके कारण a tad more difficult. But that difficulty will be taken care of by the fact that inside the CAT the pressure will be much higher. Right? So let's look at the third question. S is the, I mean, and you have to look at triggers inside questions. S is the sum of an infinite geometric progression whose first term is 100. So when you read that, you realize that I have got a number S whose sum is 100 divided by 1 minus R, because that's the formula. And infinite geometric progressions have a value of R between -1 to +1. That is something I should know. So what they're asking me is the range in which S lies. So if I look for the range, I realize that if I make R very close to 1, 0.99999, so this numerator, I mean this would try to, the value of this will tend to 100. The value of this will tend to 100, right? That's the sorry, 10 to infinity. कितना आएगा ये? Yeah, not 100. This will be 100 divided by 0.00001. It would tend to infinity. So the moment it's tending to infinity, I am not going to have an option like this at all. The third option, I don't know. Yes, greater than equal to 50 था. Let's see. So ये दो option तो हट जाएंगे, because I can find out. I mean, even if I say कि चलो ठीक है, मैं 0.99 नहीं लेता हूँ, 0.9 ले लेता हूँ इसका वैल्यू, तो ये 100 डिवाइड बाय 0.1000 आ जाएगा मेरा वैल्यू. तो ये दोनों अपर लिमिट्स तो एस के नहीं हो सकते clearly. So I just have to either eliminate C and go to D, or identify that this will not never go below 50. S greater than equal to 50. Now of course, if my first term of a GP is 100, I think there's some error in this PDF. This was not the option there. So PDF में कुछ error है in this. But अगर यही option है S greater than equal to 50, तो actually S का जो range है, S would be, now before I conclude anything on this, what if I take my value of R to the other side, -1? If I take my value of R to the other side, -1, or when I say -1 for all practical purposes, actually it is -0.99999, which for all practical purposes -1. Well, -1 पे तो GP बनेगा ही नहीं. It will just be 100 100 and 100 minus 100 100 and so on. But if I take this as the value of R, तो इसका sum to infinity will become 50 in that case, because my value in the denominator will become 1 minus -1, which will become 2. So I can realize that my sum to infinity is actually starting from 50 lowest and going all the way to infinity. So hence this seems to be the correct answer for me in the question. Let me just check 1 second. Let me just check what the actual option was in the exam. Yeah, so yeah, it was just greater than 50 only. तो यहाँ पे तुमको am I missing something here in this context? No, I think this should be correct here. Yeah, it can't be equal to 50. Yes, it can't be equal to 50. So the correct option will be D there, because -1 exactly लेंगे तो 50 होता है, but I'm not allowed to take -1. So if I look at the technicality of this question, the technicality is this won't work because it's greater than equal to 50. It would be D. So this was a tough question. So चलो मान लो ये वाला तुमसे नहीं हुआ, because you might not be able to visualize this. The toughness was not in the question or in the equation, but the toughness was in the minuteness of the question. So when you are taking the paper, matlab you should always be. I mean, some people ask me, should we scan the whole paper before doing it, etc. I said no. I mean, what you should be aware of is the first 6 questions that you're doing, and focus on that. अब जैसे देखो 6th question को देखते हैं या 4th question को देखते हैं. A stove has 2 burning knobs, a larger one and the smaller one. We can't take -1 because then it will not have an infinite sum. Vaishnavi. Infinite sum only happens when R is between -1 to +1. R equals 1 does not give you an infinite sum, and R equals -1 also does not give you an infinite sum. Yeah, so R has to be on the number line. R has to be from -0.99, depending on how many digits after decimal you want to look at. So it's actually between these two numbers, where this is -1 and this is +1. So the problem with the third option is the equal to 50 part, right? That will not work. So this was a very minute trap set in the question, and a lot of people fall into this. That's quite clear. But the fourth question, देखो. Let's see the fourth question. A gas stove has 2 burning knobs, a larger one and a smaller one. When the larger one is opened, a full cylinder a full cylinder of gas is completely emptied in 60 minutes. 1 second. Let me just share the screen with you. I'd pause the screen. Okay, so the fourth question. A gas stove has 2 burning knobs, a smaller one and larger one. Larger one and smaller one. When the larger one is opened completely, a full cylinder of gas is completely emptied in 600 minutes. So the larger one, basically, if I think about 100% of gas, it is what it is doing is it is 1/6% per minute is what its rate is, right? When the smaller one is opened completely, a full cylinder of gas is emptied completely in 810 minutes. So this is doing it in 600 minutes. This is doing it in 800 minutes. On a particular day, the larger knob was open to 60% of its capacity and run for 200 minutes. Now, when you are let's say the variables in this equation for the larger knob is that the speed of the knob, the speed of dispersal of gas of the knob into time is equal to the total gas. So when you drop this by 40%, the time will go up by 66.66%. That's the reaction to this. When you're opening only to 60% of its capacity, you have to understand the equation here. That means that at 60% capacity, this gas will require 1,000 minutes to complete. The larger knob will require 1,000 minutes to complete the entire 100% of the gas completely used. So if it is open for 200 minutes, you can make out that when the larger knob is closed on this day, you have accounted for 20% of the gas, which means that 80% of the gas has to be taken care of by the other knob. It was then closed, and the smaller knob was open to 75% of its capacity. So for the smaller knob, the speed of dispersal into time is equal to the total gas. For the total gas, this time is 810 minutes for the normal speed. Now, when speed is dropped by 25%, this time will go up by 33.33%. When speed is dropped by 1/4, time will go up by 1/3. You have to understand that the multiplicative nature of the equation here. So if you go to 1080, that means 1080 minutes mein, this knob, the smaller knob, does 100% of the work at this opening, at 75% capacity opening. So you want to do 80% of this, that means you want to do 4/5 of this. So ये 864 आएगा तुम्हारा. And as far as you got at least 3 of these, now देखो, when you're talking about maintaining an average of 4 in every 10 minutes, the moment you get 3 questions in the first 4, you have a free run in the remaining 2. Just one, you need one out of 2. So you get a free run inside as far as you've been able to do this in this thing. And I'm assuming, suppose third wala question tumse nahi hua. It was the tougher amongst the 3. You were not able to solve this. The first, second, and fourth. I mean, if I look at it from another angle, what level of preparation will give me these numbers? What level of preparation will allow me to be able to solve the second question? Second question is from number systems. So how many questions should I suppose you are training somebody else for CAT, and this you should do with all the past CAT papers. Every question you should look at very closely and try to measure or do a dipstick measure कि मैं किसी को अगर एडवाइस कर रहा हूँ तो इस बंदे को क्या बोलूं, कितने क्वेश्चन सॉल्व कर लो ताकि इस तरह के क्वेश्चन तुम सॉल्व कर पाओगे. तो दिस इज अ क्वेश्चन व्हिच इज लेवल ऑफ 200 क्वेश्चंस ऑन नंबर सिस्टम मैक्स. 150 200 कोई कर लेगा तो ये वाला क्वेश्चन तो आ जाएगा उसको. ये नंबर सिस्टम ऑफ फंक्शंस के बीच का है. इसके लिए मे बी यू हैव टू डू अराउंड 200-300 क्वेश्चंस of arithmetic geometric progressions. So the depth of this question was larger. But in this case, the story is new, but the recognition of the equations, and that's one of the things that you need to understand. Also in DI, I'll show you, you have to be very clued into the variables. You have to be very clued into the what variables are being asked, और variables को कैसे use करना है और उनका equation क्या है. Lot of times what I see among students is they are not able to identify the variables. So यहाँ पे speed of dispersal into time is the gas dispersed. ये equation अगर तुमको नहीं दिखा तो this question will be tough for you. You will not be able to solve it. But equation अगर दिख गया तो it is just 2 clicks and you would get this answer. Right? So let's try to move to this geometry question. The question is talking about, let me just draw that figure here. The question is talking about a right angle triangle, and they have given you that triangle in this shape. And then they have drawn this. And the respective points are A, B, F, A, B, C, and D, right? A, B, C, F, and you have a D here, which is again at right angles. And they give you AC is 65, AC is 65, and AB is 25. So you should be able to see the 5, 12, 13 right angle triangle here. So the immediate reaction is that this is 60. The immediate reaction is that this is 60. It is given that BF to FC is 2:3. So that 60, if I split in the 2:3 part, this will be 24 and this will be 36. And the question is asking me the approximate length of BD. So this I should be able to solve using 1 by BD square is equal to 1 by 24 square plus 1 by 25 square. There's this formula that connects the perpendicular from the right angle point of a right angle triangle to the hypotenuse. This length of this, if this is L, the 1 by L square is equal to 1 by leg 1 square plus 1 by leg 2 square. So you'll just put this on the calculator, and that's about it. You have to do. Achha, the previous question, that is a standard product constancy situation. Yes, someone, I'll come to it. DILR now. So that's typical. So this is how you basically go through a 6-question set. Right? Of course, you have to know all the formulas, all the structures, etc. Yeah, we can also use BD into BD into FA is equal to BF into BA, Upendra says. That's also possible here, right? So this is how, I mean, I mean, it's not possible that for me to discuss the entire thing. एक लास्ट 6 क्वेश्चन 2 मिनट में डिस्कस कर लेते हैं. ये तो ट्रायल एंड एरर क्वेश्चन है. This is a trial and error question, and what they are telling you is that 1142 in base x when converted to base 5 becomes 444. So 1142 in base x when converted to base 5 becomes 444. So what is the vision you require in this question? And x, y, and y are both single digit numbers in base 10. Which of the following could be a value of x? So if you think about this, the options for x are 5, 6, 7, 8 in the opposite order. Now, if you try to think about, let's say 8, then the only value for 9 possible is when you basically go from a lower base to a higher base, the value of the number reduces. So you have at this end 8, 9. Here you have a 7, 8 and a 7, 9. Here you have a possibility of 6, 7, 6, 8 and 6, 9. And here you have a possibility of 5, 6, 5, 7, 5, 8 and 5, 9. So you have got 4, 3, 7 to 9 10 possibilities here. But what points you in what direction you should go to is the sheer nature of the drop. When you go from a base 8 to base 9, the drop is not so significant as this, as you see that. And that is where the initial thought is that I should start with the small bases. I should start with the small bases. So if, and then my calculations have to support me. So if I try a 5 and 6, for example, this is 125 plus 25, 150 plus 100, 125 plus 25 plus 20, this is 172. And if I go into base 6, I will see 144 plus 24 plus 4, 172. So it's the 5-6 pair. XY is the 5-6 pair, and you end up getting lucky and get the first value that you check as the correct answer, and you get this answer. But to get that luck, you had to be able to see that I don't want to start from 8. I want to start from the lower side, because this kind of drop is going to happen from on lower bases. When you go to lower bases, you have to make very large numbers to denote even small values. So for example, if you go to base 2, just to represent the number 8, you have to write 1000, right? So and the other thing you can also think of, I mean, uh, in in this question, is that if you are suppose if you are talking about the base 5, if you're talking about base 5, 1142 in base 5, then this is a number which is basically representing 5 cube. 5 raised to 0, 5 raised to 1, 5 raised to 2, 5 cube. And it has not gone all the way to 5 raised to 4. So this is a number between 125 to 625. And if I go to, let's say, a base 6, or let's say I go to a base 9 here, for example, if I want to check 5, 9. If I go to a base 9, base 9 में ये value 81 है, और base 10 में इनफैक्ट ये 125 to 625 नहीं है, बिकॉज यहाँ 2 नहीं यूज हो रहा है, तो ये 125 to 249 ही है, ये नंबर उसी रेंज में आएगा. और बेस 9 में 81 4 द 324 सीधा आ रहा है. So these are certain indicators which will tell you that I don't need to use 5 and 9 or 5 and 8, and I need to go straight with 5 6 kind of solutions. So this is how you pass through. Of course, as I said, there's an ability angle, but if I go back to my original discussion of what you need to do in the paper and what you need to do in your thinking, if I go back to this and I talk about this to you, then the key metric that you need to measure is how often, and you can try to measure this on the CAT questions, how often are you able to maintain, how often are you able to maintain 4 out of 4 in 10 minutes. How often are you able to maintain 4 in 10 minutes. तो कभी भी तुमको measure करना है कि तुम्हारा, and as I said, you have to plan. If you are not able to maintain 4 in 10 attempts in 10 minutes, then, and you are only at, let's say, 3 in 10 minutes, so this gives you where I am and where the toppers are and where is the gap. So then you start finding the hurdles that are stopping you to do this, and you start devoting your study session. So if you find that, okay, whenever my mix of 6 questions in 10 minutes, whenever a mix of 6 questions in 10 minutes contains 2-3 questions of geometry, I have an issue reaching 4. Then you say, okay, let me go to geometry. And when I go to geometry and I invest 3 study sessions on it, it is not about कि एक महीना geometry पढ़ना है. It is Monday सुबह start किया, Monday सुबह, Tuesday सुबह, Wednesday सुबह 3 study session दिया, और 3 geometry 1 किया, geometry 2 किया, geometry 3 किया. और basically क्या किया? You can only do 2 things. One is either you can revise the questions you have done, redo them, or you can add new questions. ये दो ही tools हैं. और किसी भी chapter में, suppose geometry, whenever geometry is in the mix, you find it difficult to get to 4 out of 6. When it is an arithmetic plus number system mix, you find it easy. So you don't need to sort this out then. इस पे study session क्यों दोगे तुम? So you need to measure these things. और ये सब तुम लोगों को पता ही नहीं रहता है because you never check this. Because you never know this metric कि वो जो टॉपर है, जो तुम्हारे सामने दिखता नहीं है 100 परसेंटाइल और 200 स्कोर कर लेता है, वो क्या कर रहा है, you don't get to know. So if you can start catching him in every 10 minutes, you start catching him in 180 minutes. That's the whole idea. Right? Now, DILR में जो strategy है, what do the toppers do? So as I said, coming back, when you go ahead and start investing your time in terms of your study sessions, it has to be very measured study sessions. So what I can suggest is quants में, if you want to check, दिक्कत है नहीं है, तुम ये measurement, and our CAT scans are basically that only. What we do in the CAT scan is we give you a 6-question test in 12 minutes and want you to check कि and this is block 1, number system में क्या हो रहा है तुम्हारा, arithmetic में क्या हो रहा है, and there are 97 CAT scans we have overall on the test series. You can just keep checking those. Anytime you go back to geometry, you do 3 sessions on geometry, and you want to check back कि ठीक हुआ कि नहीं, come back and do a couple of them and see whether you are getting better or not. But there has to be a measurement and there has to be movement. Both things have to happen. So what are you going to do in DILR? We have around 15-20 minutes left in the session. So let me just quickly take you through what do the top guys do in DILR. So first of all, the top guys ensure a set is done in an upper limit of 12 minutes. So we need to understand that the top people, I mean, if you talk about top, there are two tops, the 100 percentilers, and here at least I can speak as a 100 percentiler because CAD 18 I had 100 percentile in DI. So when you're doing the 100 percentile perspective, they are able to solve between 6 to 6.5 sets, whereas the 99 percentiler is somewhere at the 4 set mark. And the moment you move from 4 to 5 sets, one extra set you can do in the exam, you are close to the 99.5, 99.7 range. It will give you that jump, because barely 500, 700, 800 people in the exam are able to solve a fifth set. तो fifth set करने का जो टेक्नोलॉजी है ना, वो टेक्नोलॉजी ये है कि एक 12 में किया, दूसरा भी 12 में किया, बीच में एक 6 में कर दिया, फिर then you go back to 12 minutes, and if you find two of these 6-7 minute sets, you're hitting 6 sets in 60 minutes. So does the CAT give this opportunity? देख लो, those of you enroll, and all the Mindwork students, of course, you have the access to the videos. I've shown you how CAT 17, CAT 18 questions are doable in 7-8 minutes. There's nothing more to do. But again, to do stuff in 7 minutes, one of the preconditions will have to be that you come down to one reading. Read a question only once. And the second critical condition of doing well at it is write less. Write less, but write very clear structures. Especially in the logical DI part, you will need that. So if I go back to a set and we come to let's say I pick up the second set of of today's exam, which is a football tournament, and this paper was dominated by games and tournaments, too much of games and tournaments in this paper, but I allowed it to go because you ultimately have to be good at it. as you keep moving in your discussion and your listing. So the first, I mean, when you look at this question, you realize that it's not a very long question. So while taking in the information, you have to be very clear about making sure that you come out with the information once and for all in one reading, no second readings. Several teams participated in a football tournament. No match played in the tournament was abandoned, and all the matches either resulted in a win or a win, loss, or a draw. The matches played in the tournament had one of the score lines. So this is talking about the possible score lines. So now I need to spend some time. I cannot just move ahead of this because the quantitative information is all clustered here. So I realize I first take down my score lines on my. This is my solving sheet. This should be my how my solving sheet start looking. My score lines are 1-0, 2-1, 2-0, 3-1. पहले तो मैं ऐसे लिख ले रहा हूँ 2-1, 2-0, 3-1. These are my score lines here. And this goes ahead to 5-1, 4-1, 5-0, 5-1, 4-1, 5-0. I need some time on this to understand कि क्या क्या हो रहा है. Because देखो, you can see that the length of the question is not too long. यहाँ पे question start हो जा रहा है, question 5. So in your peripheral vision on the test engine, you will see the question on the right, and you'll see this on the left. So you realize that I have to spend some time, and obviously in a DILR set, I can spend a couple of minutes catching hold of what all has happened. So 5-1, 4-1, 5-0, 0-0. So I realize that I'm getting now, I have 10 outcomes with me, and 1-1, 2-2, 3-3. So I realize, of course, I realize that these are my first 4 draws, because the question has already told me that there are draws and there are win losses. So I realize that these are my 4 draws here. And I also realize that these are my win losses. Right? And then this goes, the following table provides information about the total number of goals in a match and corresponding the percentage of matches in the tournament with the same number of goals. So I go to the table right now before I go to the next sentence. And the table is telling me that total number of goals in the match 1, percentage of matches in the tournament is 5%. So what the table is telling me, 1 goal, 5% of the matches. Now, since this is talking about total number of goals, I should be able to correlate this at this point to the 1-0 win, because there's no other way in which there can be 1 goal only. And second, 2 goals, 36%. So 2 goals is 36%. 2 goals, if I look through my cases here, I got the 1-1 case and the 2-0 case. So there are two kinds of matches that will be comprising the 2-goal win, the 2-goal match, 2-0 and 1-1. And this is 36% of the total matches on which 2 goals have happened. Then I look at 3 goals and it's 18%. I have to read the data well, so that I read the data only once. 3 goals, 18%. Now 3 goals is going to happen. I'll build this table in my thinking, because I will need to think. I need this cross-referenced information on the sheet of on my test center. I don't have this cross-related information about which possibilities are where. So 2-1, I'm looking for a 3-0, but there's no 3-0. I'll just check once more through my list. 3-0 कहीं miss तो नहीं कर दिया मैंने, नहीं किया है. So 2-1 is the only 3-goal match. So the 4-goal match, which is 15%, the 4-goal match, which is 15%, can happen in the 3-1 case. In the win-loss, it's the 3-1. There's only 4-goal match. There's no 4-0. and in the draw it is 2-2. The 5 goal match, which is telling me 8%, and the 6 goal match is 8%. The 5 goal match is split between 5-0 and 4-1. That's the 5 goal match. And the 6 goal match, 8%, is split between 5-1 and 3-3. So I have a split of draws and decisive in some matches, and other matches I've got only decisives. So, oh, sorry, I'm sorry about this. Can you see the screen now? Yeah, so I'm trying to write this here. तो ये information निकाल रहा हूँ मैं यहाँ से. Right, this is what you'll do in this thinking in this question. And once you have this formatted out, you'll just check the number of matches that number of types of matches you are working out here. 1, 3, 4, 6, 8, 10, and 4, 8, 9, 13. There are 13 types of matches. Have we missed anything? The 1 goal match is only 1-0. The 2 goal match is 2-0 and 1-1. The 3 goal match is only 2-1. That's also okay. The 4 goal match is 3-1 and 2-2. That's also fine. ये 4-1 दो बार लिख दिया है यहाँ पे. That's why this, and the 5-1 also I've written twice. So that's why there's an issue with this. So when I go to 4, 6, 7, 11 है यहाँ पे, और यहाँ पे 3, 4, 6, 8, 10 है. So what am I missing here? I need to be careful about this. So 4 goal match is 3-1, 2-2. The 5 goal match is 4-1, 5-0. This is taken care of. And the 6 goal match is 5-1, 3-3. So what is obviously missing here is the 0 goal match. And the 0 goal match, if I just count this, I realize that there's 10% here. And the 0 goal match is the 0-0 match. So 10% of the matches have ended 0-0. And then the question tells me one more thing, that the following table provides information about the total number of goals in a match and correspondingly the percentage of matches in the tournament with the same number of goals. And then it says the number of matches that result in a draw is 22 percentage points less than the percentage of matches that result in a win. So this should immediately give you 61 and 39. Because wins plus draws is 100 and wins minus draws is 22. So without writing that equation, you can think about this as, if wins are 50 and draws are 50, you raise this by 11 and drop this by 11, you'll get 61 and 39. Right, and these are small spots at which you reduce your time and you increase your speed, and from it, even for the tougher questions, from being a 12 for 14 15-minute solver, you come down to a 12-minute solver. But one of the keys in your DILR preparation is to be able to get to a point in your preparation. You have to be able to stand at a point कि मेरे से सब कुछ solve हो जाता है, I can solve anything. This is an important point where you need to, if you want to dominate the DILR section, you will have to get to that point. And for that, you have to get to the x-axis. Down the x-axis, you have to practice 200-300 sets of DI. You have to practice 200-300 sets of LR. और 300 सेट करोगे DI और LR का, तो ऐसा हो नहीं सकता है कि तुम्हारा DI और LR ठीक नहीं हो जाए. So अगर कहीं पे भी तुमको दिक्कत हो रहा है, suppose you're finding a problem in data interpretation, my DI is not working well, pick up 50 sets. कितना टाइम लगेगा? एक स्टडी सेशन 3 घंटे का, 10 सेट उठाओ, 10 sets you should be able to solve in 3 minute 3 hour framework. 10 नहीं करोगे, थोड़ा बहुत वीक हो तुम 8 करोगे, 25 मिनट लगेंगे एक सेट में तुम्हारे, तो 8 सेट्स तुम कर पाओगे 3 आवर्स दिस थिंग में। तो 6 स्टडी सेशंस का गेम है। एक है कि बैठ के रोते रहो कि डीआई नहीं सुधर रहा है, डीआई नहीं सुधर रहा है, डीआई में स्कोर नहीं आ रहा है। दूसरा है कि कंट्रोल, टेक कंट्रोल। 50 में नहीं होगा तो 100 में होगा। तभी भी कितना स्टडी सेशन हो गया, 6 + 6। So if you start, if today is 6 September, if you start on 7 September and give one study session to DI every day for 12 days, so 18 September you will be better. 18 September you will be better. So once I have this reaction, anyway, coming back to the question, and these are the kind of stuff you have to do. You are in the zone where you have to perform heroically for yourself. You cannot be uh, a whiner at this point कि मेरे से नहीं हो रहा, मैं नहीं सीख सकता and all those things. You will find ways. You are in a problem solving situation. तुम्हारा टेस्ट में स्कोर 100 120 आता है, तुमको 150 तक ले जाना है. It's a problem you're solving. How do I take my test score from 100 to 120, 120 to 150? Just like the world is trying to solve the problem of coronavirus. Yeah, how do you get to a post-coronavirus world? You are trying to solve a problem for yourself. As I said, your only resources are your intelligence, learning intelligence, and the study sessions. So, मतलब I've never seen a student जो 100 set DI का solve करता है. He solves 100 sets in DI from his current level, and his skills don't improve. So in DI or LR, and this is very very simple. If you are standing on this point कि some sets मेरे से होते हैं and some नहीं होते हैं, so you will always be butchered by the cat. You cannot afford to stand there. ठीक है, तुम, I don't care about time. You have to get to that point कि I can solve, कुछ भी दे दो मैं solve कर लूँ, मेरे को 30 मिनट दे दो साथ में. Give me 30 minutes, I'll solve it. You have to be able to stand on that, and that is the first step of the DILR learning, and both for data interpretation and logical reasoning. And as you start going through, and that can only happen, you can do a little bit of watch, as I tell my students कि थोड़ा बहुत watch करो दूसरे लोग का पढ़ाना या दूसरे लोग का solving. जैसे हम लोग के CAT course में we have a 50 must do DI sets that I do with my students. तो वो that is there for watching, but ultimately watching से नहीं होने वाला है. Watching से होता तो everybody would get through DI, because everybody can watch 50 sets or 100 sets once it's there. So let's come back. So ये हो गया. तो अब basically इस question में जो split है ना, the split of the question is how do you split this 61 wins and this 39% draws amongst these results. So what you realize is that this 10% is clearly going to draws. So that means the 2 goal, 4 goal, and 6 goal matches where the draws are apart from this, the 2 goal, 4 goal, 6 goal matches have to have 29% draws. And the 2 goal, 4 goal, 6 goal matches are 36, 51, 59. So they have to have 29% draws and 30% win loss spread amongst the draws here and the win loss here, the draws here and the win loss here. So you have to be able to x-ray the information like this at this thing, and this skill can only happen if you have understood what data is being presented to you. और ये 18% और ये 8% और ये 5%, this is going to 38% of the wins. 18, 8, 31% of the wins. So 31% of the wins are getting accounted by the 1 goal win, 5%, 1 goal match, the 3 goal match, which is the 18%, and the 5 goal match, which is 8%. And you will see that the questions are now going to basically talk about कि इसको minimize करोगे तो उसको maximize करोगे क्या है. The total number of matches in which only one team scored goal as a percentage of total number of matches played in the tournament cannot be more than. So only one team scored a goal. We are talking about this match. We are talking about this match. We are talking about this match. ये तीनों मैचेस को मेरे को मैक्सिमाइज करना है एज अ परसेंटेज ऑफ व्हाट total number of matches played in the tournament. I have to maximize these three. तो इसका maximization तो 8% पे, there's no problem. All the 5 goal matches, put them as 5-0. The question is clear about maximization. Cannot be more than. That means it is a maximum at this level. Cannot be more than means a maximization. So this 8% is clear. This 5% is clear. तो ये 2-0 में maximum कितना डाल सकते? You want to maximize this box. Was there only 3 boxes for this? तो इसको मैक्सिमाइज करने के लिए इसको मिनिमाइज करना पड़ेगा. इसको मिनिमाइज करना पड़ेगा. The draw, the 3 draws are adding up to 29. So if I want to minimize this, I have to maximize these two. So suppose I said everything here was a draw, 15. Everything here was a draw, 8. So I'll still have to put a 6 here, and that will give me a 30. But does that allow me the other ones? This is a 0. And this is also a 0. Yeah, this allows me this. So 30% of this are win losses. So the number of matches and only maximum number of matches in which only 3 teams score will be the sum of these 3. So this is the kind of thinking that you have to talk about. On the portal, basics में जाना, I mean, अगर basics में दिक्कत है, pie chart, bar chart, Abhinav, you can do that. Otherwise, you just go through the advanced sets, because that's where you'll need more help from our side. So difficult sets पे ultimately पहुंचना पड़ेगा. Basics करना भी है तो go through very quickly, but don't spend too much time on that. Right? So somehow, I mean, the problem with not standing on that level where you are telling yourself कि कुछ भी दे दो मैं solve कर लूंगा. If you're not standing on that in DILR, the problem with that is that you are essentially going to be unsure about the questions you're solving in the exam. तो अगर क्लैरिटी मिल जाता है, आई मीन डेटा क्लैरिटी कितना है, वेरिएबल क्लैरिटी कितना है, उस पर पूरा डीआई डिपेंड करता है. So if you have a problem, sort it out. You're not third standard kids that you'll go crying to the teacher कि मेरे से DI नहीं बनता है. Focus on solutions, find solutions, and the quality of your solutions that you create will be defining the quality of what you will do in this exam. And of course, very briefly about verbal unfortunately बहुत demonstrative नहीं रहता है in this thing in a 1 hour session. So what are the top guys able to do in verbal? So the dimensions of what the top guys are doing these days is basically verbal is built on RC, because these 3 question types which are coming in the exam, especially parajumbles, is quite tedious. So RC mein people are getting to a 95-98% accuracy. So my strategy in reading comprehension, when I'm solving the CAT, my strategy is 24 questions aate hain reading comprehension mein. I solve all 24 of them in around 35 to 38 minutes. And parajumble mein, when I solve the complex ones, I expect accuracy of around 40-50%. When I solve the easy ones, I expect accuracy of 90% plus. Summary mein my accuracy is more than 80%. Odd man out mein also the accuracy is 70 to 80%. If I solve 10 questions, I'll get 7, 8 right. So broadly speaking, all these together, I mean, I have enough time to do this. So obviously, it is built on a single reading, understanding the passage in single reading. तीन चार paragraph पढ़ना पड़ता है. 1 minute, 1.5 minutes per paragraph is enough to a good reader. Of course, तुमको reading skills बढ़ाना है तो I mean maybe the bus is already gone for cat 20. But if you know how to read, तो solving skills बढ़ाने के लिए you can focus on making sure that your number of readings goes down. You'll be able to do more questions. Why I'm able to do a set? I mean one RC set. If there are 5 RC passages, 5 or 6. If I'm doing it in around 35 to 40 minutes time frame, I'm typically finishing a passage in 6 minutes. I'm very surprised when I get 1 or 2 questions wrong. 24 में से 22 right, worst case 21 right, sometimes 23 right. So there are some passages which will go 5 out of 5. This is the pattern: 5 out of 5, 4 out of 4, 3 out of 5, or 3 out of 4, 2 out of 3, and then 5 out of 5. This is the kind of pattern of scoring that the top people do. You need to look at where you are, how much time do you take, 12 minutes, 14 minutes, 10 minutes, 12 minutes on a passage, and what is your accuracy. After spending 10, 12, you are at 3 out of 5. So there is clearly a gap between the way you solve and the way the top people are solving. So what you invest time in, and the time investment has to be, अगर reading improve करना है तो as I said, your bus is left for the year. But if you're focused on improving your solving, the solving improvement again can be a few study sessions. Pick up 100 good quality questions. You want to do reading, you want to improve your reading comprehension, pick up 20 good quality RC passages and just solve them and keep solving them every day till you know that you are on the right answers on everything. And the other thing I ask people to check is कि suppose 10 minutes में तुम जब करते हो RC तो you are 3 out of 5. So do you have a time frame at which you get to 5 out of 5? कि वो time frame है ही नहीं तुम्हारे पास. If you give yourself 20 minutes, are you able to get to 5 out of 5? If you give yourself 30 minutes, if you remove the time limit, are you able to get to 5 out of 5 in that? अगर वो 5 out of 5 का depth ही नहीं है तुम्हारे पास, तो it's about reading and understanding that the problem is. But if you are able to get to 5 out of 5 in 30 minutes, then the hope is there that you can bring it down to 10 minutes and maybe even 8 minutes. Because then it is about focusing more. It is about catching hold of the data more, of the information more. So for example, if an author is saying that there are 3 major reasons, in the first paragraph he says that there are 3 major reasons for this to happen. So you would expect that in the next few paragraphs he'll be talking about the three reasons. So you are expecting that to happen in the next few paragraphs. So you are already predicted the structure of the paragraph. He'll give me one reason, he'll give me second reason, he'll give me third reason. And good writers will always give you indication of where they're getting to. So one reading का मतलब सिर्फ ये नहीं होता है कि एक reading में समझो. One reading का मतलब होता है कि तुम जब ये पढ़ रहे हो, तुमको आगे का विजन दिख रहा है कि कहाँ ले जा रहा है. This is called reading between the lines. That's what you have to work on. That's what you have to develop. Right. So I hope you enjoyed this. Those of you who wanted to check with the ASCC structure, where to purchase from, etc. I'll just show you that page. It's mindworks.in.ascc. This is a messy window. Let me just open a new window and show it to you. So this is the page, mindworks.in.ascc. you'll go on this, and on this page you can just go down all the way. We have talked about why the ASCC is critical and why it's the argument for it, and this is the structure, and this is the button. There's a button at the bottom of the page. If you click this button, it'll take you to the payment page, and we are giving it for 3,999 with all the other aspects that I told you in the start of the class. The free GDPI program for the first 50 registrants, the personal mentoring with me with respect to what should you spend your study sessions on. You have that feature of giving me a missed call and I call back every student of ours. That is also there for the test series students. And on top of that, whatever test analysis and test uh, uh, distinct sessions we do, and of course the CAT 17, 18, 19 LRDI solutions, all that you get out of this. Chalo, so we'll stop here. I hope you enjoyed the session. And any pressing questions for all of you? Anybody? Yeah, this is the only mock course. The only DILR course we don't have, Gaurav. I'm sorry, we don't do that. So it's difficult for us to segregate कि ये DILR class है और वो quants, because DILR is DI especially is very integrated with quants, right? So personal mentoring is available to all Mindwork students who are in part of any of the courses. So that's there. Ideal score depends on your percentile targets. For me, an ideal score will be 220 plus in this. Novels mat padho Divya. Novels will take you too much time. You can read articles. It's important to improve your ability to read. Fine. Yeah, these are all non-resident. This is all online. All our courses are online. We're not having any offline in-person classes. ठीक है? So analyze, Upendra, find out the areas which you are have a problem in, and sit and work. Ultimately, जो change होता है, तो वो change तुम्हारा sit down study sessions में ही होगा. Normal Lewis, I'm not a big fan of, so I don't advocate too much. You can give it a go by. So Shlok, if your accuracy is 90%, you need to start doing questions in one reading. Therefore, there's a hierarchy of four shortcuts for quants, DI, and LR. The four shortcut sources or four speed improvement sources are: read once. Second most important is write less, reduce your writing. Third most critical is calculate better. And the fourth one is shortcuts and methods. But this is a far off fourth. Focus on these three. You'll be able to improve your attempts. At any point of time, the cutting edge is, I mean, if a student contacts me कि मेरा 15-17 attempts होता है, so I'm not pushing him to do 25 attempts next time. I'm pushing him to, can you get to 17, 19? Because the edges are there. That's where you push yourself. So plus 2 questions, plus 3 questions on any section, and you start moving your score up. And that's the most important part of your journey, of your CAT prep journey. Right? Decent questions for 90% depends on what your percentile expectation is. If you're expecting a 99 percentile at 90% accuracy, you need to be able to do 24, 25 questions. Fine. Thank you so much, everyone. Any other questions? Anybody? Is it okay to quit job for prep? Yes, you can, but you'll have to manage your profile. 85 marks right now. So you'll have to find out what are the reasons why your marks are limited. As I said, it's not this for Himanshu. It is not if you are at 85, you are around the 80 90 percentile range right now. तो 85 से 150 जाने का जो रोड है वो 3 मेजर, देखो कभी भी स्कोर इंप्रूवमेंट का जब बात होता है ना, scores hit plateaus, as some of you are telling me. So once you hit a plateau in your scores, it is not about taking mock tests and continuing taking mock tests कि आंख बंद करके मॉक टेस्ट लेते जाओ, मेरा स्कोर 110 ही आ रहा है, 110 आता रहेगा और 110 3 महीना तक आता रहेगा. It's about once you hit your plateau, let's say your plateau is at 110, then you start identifying the critical study sessions you need to do and what you need to do in that study session. Should it be resolving? Should it be solving new questions? What should it be? As I told you, my DI is not working. I want to check whether I'm at that point, whether I've reached that point of belief कि गिव मी अ क्वेश्चन, मैं सॉल्व कर देता हूँ, 30 मिनट दे दो मैं सॉल्व कर देता हूँ. मेरे पास समय का बिलीफ नहीं है लेकिन मेरे पास सॉल्विंग का बिलीफ है. तो वहां पहुंचे हो कि नहीं पहुंचे, नहीं पहुंचे हो तो वो जर्नी तुमको करना पड़ेगा, बिकॉज अदर्स हु आर competing with you have that journey, have done that journey. ठीक है. So it would roughly be I mean slightly muted from the actual CAT. I would think because the English was tough. The DILR was also, I did not give you any freebies in the DILR also. Every question had some twists or turns. CAT 19 देखोगे तो दो सेट थे freebie वाले. So I would think that this would be the 99 percentile point will be muted by around 15-20 marks. So if you're scoring 140 plus in this test, you would get a 99 percentile in that exam, right? So 120 अगर तुम कर रहे हो श्लोक, I would expect you to be at approximately 96, 95, 96 percentile in this test. तो जब तुम improve करना चाहते हो तो study sessions invest करो, 8-10 study session define करो कि 3 मैं time split distance में दे रहा हूँ, 2 geometry में दे रहा हूँ, 5 DI में दे रहा हूँ. वो 10 study session के बाद you have to be better at it. Your learning capacities come into the picture. And then you say, okay, plus 3 questions. I mean, as I said, attempts and accuracy are the only two things. I mean, the mechanics of score improvement is that. So I'll do 3 more questions in the exam, and I'll do one error less. This is 13 marks extra on a section. So if you can do this across 3 sections, you are 40 marks plus on the exam. और ये सबके पास अवेलेबल रहता है. मतलब मैं, I told you I don't prepare for the CAT, I just go for the CAT like that. I solve only 6 RC passes in a year, which is inside the CAT. I solve only 8 DI sets in a year, which is inside the CAT. I don't do any practice of anything else. Quants, of course, I teach most of the time. And of course, teaching something and knowing something कि ये मेरे को आता है versus doing something, practicing, is very different. So when you are trying to raise your score, it's more about practice. So I get my 220, 230 scores. तो मेरे को पता है कि मेरा स्कोर्स 220 230 इसलिए होता है बिकॉज वर्बल में मेरा 70 to 80 आता है. DILR I'm anywhere between 60 to 80. If I have a good paper, I'll go to 75 and 100 percentile. Bad paper, I'll get to 60. And quants, I know I'm between 70 to 80. And for me, an easy paper to a tough paper does not matter. So if I can practice, I know that I can get to 80 90 here. I know that I can hit the 80s, 70 80 zone here, get rid of the 60s totally. And I know that I can cross the 80s here because English में मेरे पास time का बहुत कभी कमी नहीं आता है. I finished the English section in 50 to 53 minutes. Quants or DI I don't finish, but English I finish. So 80 plus. So if I can raise this by 10 marks each, I will go to 250 260, and there I'll be in the top 3 in the country in any year. So वो मेरे को पता है कि मैं कर सकता हूँ. और ये basically if I need to create this and if I decide, I need to create a plan. What are the questions which make, what are the kind of questions which make hurdle. जैसे for example I'll tell you, it's not like geometry मेरा खराब है. It's like मेरे को बहुत सारे questions में similar triangles नहीं दिखते. It's a problem for me. I'm not very good at looking at similar triangles. So मेरे को प्रॉब्लम है. तो मेरे को अगर ठीक करना है तो सिमिलर ट्रायंगल्स के मैं 20-25 क्वेश्चन देख के सिमिलर ट्रायंगल्स का विजुअलाइजेशन इंप्रूव करूंगा. एक स्टडी सेशन की काम है मेरे लिए. One study session. right? So that kind of work, if I do, I know that these 10 marks will happen. So you have to plan the same way. For me also, this is a problem solving situation. I can score 120, 220 without any this thing, without any compunctions and without any stress. But to get to 250, I need to change my abilities at the borders. If I don't do that, if I can do that, I can easily score 250 without any challenges. ठीक है? So that's how you have to think. 100 marks में 90-92 परसेंटाइल के आसपास आएगा approximately. ठीक है ना? So मेरे को दिखता है कि I can score 260, 270. मेरे को, if you ask me what is possible in my CAT attempt, I think 260, 270, 270 in a good paper, I think I can score 270. उसके ऊपर अभी नहीं सोचा है मैंने, लेकिन I think I can score that. मेरा स्कोर 210 से 230 के बीच में फंसा हुआ है. More like here. Why it is stuck is because each of these scores is stuck. So if I can add one set in DI from my level, where I do 5-6, if I can add one set in DI, ये 12 मार्क्स यहाँ बढ़ जाएगा मेरा. आता मेरे को सब है, 8 सेट में कर सकता हूँ एग्जाम में. मतलब मेरे को एक घंटा 15 मिनट मिल जाए तो I'll do all 8 sets. So my challenge is to bring it down to to the 60-minute framework. So those challenges everybody has. So you, what do? You define what you need to do for this, right? Yeah, of course, number gaps increases drastically at the top. मतलब अगर मेरा score 230 से, जैसे CAT 2018, my last CAT I got 228. अगर मेरा score उस and I got a 99.99 percentile, तो उस CAT में अगर मेरा score 230 के बदले 228 के बदले, if it had dropped to 170, 175, I would have got a 99.7 percentile. But if my score had dropped from 175 to 125, my score would have dropped to 95 percentile. And from 125 to 75, if my score drops, then I'll come down to 75 percentile. So you will see that every 50 marks, the cluster is very high. यहाँ पे कोई नहीं है. यहाँ पे I'm just falling rank wise. I'm falling from the 10th rank in the CAT to the 600 rank. But here I'm falling from 600 to 10,000. And from here I'm falling from 10,000 to around 50,000. So the clustering is very sparse here and very dense here. 95 percentile के लिए you need around 120. Obviously top पे बहुत कम लोग रहते हैं, right? Probably some people do score 260, 270 good day in the exam. So somebody who scores 240, he does not drop his percentile. इसको भी 100 आता है, इसको भी 100 आता है. So 270 से 220 तक drop कर जाओ, so you are from 100 to 99.99 only, because there's nobody there at the top, right? IIMs में I think 5 years, 3 to 5 years after graduation तक तुम जा सकते हो into IIMs. चलो, I'll wind up then. Thank you so much. I've got a class with my students now. Thanks a lot, and look forward to having some of you joining the test series and helping you out, helping you out with the next phase of your journey. Thank you so much. All the best. Stay inspired and give it your best shot. I mean, that's what you want. Don't focus on results. Give it your best shot. At the end of the day, you should be satisfied कि boss मैंने अपना काम किया था. I did my work well. Result नहीं आया, that's not up to me, and that's not something I blame myself for. Or there can be a lot of reasons why results don't come. And but you should not have that regret कि इसको ठीक से किया होता तो कुछ और होता. Right? So don't have that. Stop having that regret in life. That's the worst regret to have in life. Chalo. Thank you so much. Bye bye everyone.